Hey everybody, meteorologist Bryce Jones here. I know we just got done with the morning show, but I want to go ahead and hop on here because I know some folks don't have WBKI when we switch over, starting at 9 a.m. And I know a lot of people have some questions that may want me to answer personally about some of the wintry precip that's going to roll through tonight and into early tomorrow morning, and especially the chance it's going to roll in Monday night into Tuesday. That one, snow lovers, I think you have a little bit of a better chance of seeing some actual snow accumulation with that one rather than this upcoming one. So before I start, thank you guys for joining in. Please like the stream, hit share, send it out to your friends and family. I know there's a lot of questions about what to expect tonight. And then again on Monday night into Tuesday. So be sure all your friends and family can see it. I know it's Saturday, so a lot of you got to have plans. Obviously, I'm not going to hold you for too long. We're going to go ahead and knock this out of the park, first of all. So hit share, like the stream, drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, and we'll get to questions near the end. So if you want to ask a question at any point during the stream, you are more than welcome to go ahead and do that. So with that being said, let's go and get started. So you're looking at dew points right now on your screen. And the reason I'm showing dew points is because when we talk about snow, obviously you have to have moisture from the cloud where the snow is falling all the way down to the surface, obviously, to get that snow to the ground. If you have dry air in place, that is going to hold a lot of that back, and it's not going to allow that to reach the ground, at least not all of it. So dew points are in the 20s right now. When you look aloft in the atmosphere, about a mile above the ground, a little bit less than that actually, there's a big gap on all data. And I have a winter blog coming out at 2 o'clock on our pages, and you can actually see it on our website right now if you want to. And in that, you can see in what we call an atmospheric sounding, where you can see the dew point and the temperature. Those two lines on an atmospheric sounding are very far apart. That means there's a big old bubble of dry air that the snowflakes have to fall through in order to get to the ground. Well, if it's not snowing really hard, it's going to be difficult to get what's called evaporative cooling, where you take that cool air and drag it down and make the entire column of air cold. So what's likely going to happen is the snow that I'm about to show you that's rolling into our area now, a lot of that is probably not going to reach the ground. I'm not going to say none of it because I think some of it could. We can see a few flakes getting through that and flying around out there late morning, early afternoon, coming up soon, but it's going to hold us back a lot to start off, especially. So let's go ahead and get through it. First of all, winter weather advisories do not include our area. This is exactly where we thought this would be. They are just north of Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings County in Indiana, covered by the NWS in Indianapolis. Further north they got that, you go up into central Indiana, and then you start talking about winter storm warnings up in Indianapolis and all that mess. For our area, that is not likely to happen. And there's a couple reasons behind that. First of all, you got the dry air. So the snow that's rolling in now, it's going to have a hard time getting to the ground. So what looks like snow rolling into parts of Jasper, Paoli, Bedford, about to roll into Meade County, you guys might see some flakes flying around, but it's not going to come down enough to, first of all, accumulate. And a lot of that generally is probably not reaching the ground because of the dry air that we got in place. The bulk of the moisture is over near that low pressure out in Kansas City, moving into parts of central Missouri now. So you'll also notice there's a defined line there between snow and rain. It kind of rides the border of St. Louis, of Missouri and Illinois, right there around St. Louis. So that's the defining line of where that's located at. For our area right now, when you look at radar, you're like, oh boy. Oh yeah. Bedford. It must look like a blizzard there, right? Right? No, because it has to fall through the dry air. So honestly, a lot of this probably isn't even reaching the ground. Now you go over toward Vincennes and over toward the Illinois-Indiana border, you're probably getting some. So I do think we will see some snowflakes flying around today, but it's not going to accumulate, especially with this early system or with this early timeline. Up in the farther north you go in Indiana, that's where you're going to have some of your accumulations, which, again, we'll talk about here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and time it out, shall we? So heading over the next few hours, data has actually done really, really well with this. You see data is picking up on that little nose of moisture that looks like it's trying to roll into our area. right here, but it also doesn't pick it up completely as snow because temperatures right now are hovering right around freezing, which Jade is also doing a really good job. I'll give her credit on here. But again, it's running into that dry air. So you'll notice as we progress over the next couple of hours, the snow just can't fully get into our area, right? So when you look at radar, if you have the WDRB weather app, you're going to look at radar later, and I'll almost guarantee you're going to see snow over some of your houses on radar. But you have to keep in the back of your mind, all right, all that dry air up there, that snow ain't going to reach the ground, at least not a lot of it. Some flakes might, but the majority of it, probably not. So if you're heading to the U of L UK game, I know a lot of you guys probably are, so we have a decent amount of people in here. I'm going to leave a 20 to 30% chance during the U of L and UK game, strictly for this scenario right here. It shows a few little raindrops in there, maybe a snowflake or two, being a possibility. Now, again, what's going to help limit that is the fact that we have dry air. So is there rain or snow, mainly rain, possible during the U of L UK game? Yes, but it's a very low chance, and it's mainly a sprinkle or light drizzle. A lot of it isn't going to reach the ground. You can over-prepare and bring something with you. You're probably going to have the coat on anyway because it's going to be cold. So in terms of impactful rain falling, I would say probably not. Now, heading past that, you head toward the end of the game. Look at our temps, and you look at our wind direction. Those little wind barbs there, they're coming out of the southeast, and that means we're bringing in warmer air. Look at the temp in Campbellsville at 3:30 that this model shows. It's bringing in a lot of that warm air. So this is called warm air advection, and we're warming our entire atmosphere the longer we go through the day. So by the time that moisture gets here, not quite. At least not quite in terms of snow. And honestly, this model in particular, I think has that snow too far south. I think that up through Louisville, we're going to be too warm by then, and anywhere that sees snow is probably going to be around here and north. Paoli and north of Madison, up near Seymour, Indiana. And even then, it doesn't snow for very long. So best case scenario if you're a snow lover, worst case scenario if you're a snow hater. For Louisville, we could get some brief bursts of snow in here between like 5 and 9. But I think that is still not incredibly likely because we've warmed a lot since then. It could start as some snowflakes. You might be able to see some wet snowflakes, those big old fat snowflakes flying around a little bit for like 10, 15 minutes, and then it goes over to rain because we're just too warm. So again, I still think this has the snow line too far south. This is honestly a best case scenario for snow lovers, worst case scenario for snow haters here. And it still keeps that snow mainly north of Louisville. Because you see, as we continue to warm tonight, that warm air advection, that strong south wind is blowing in a lot of that warm air out of the south, and it's just infiltrating it. So cold rain is the most likely scenario for Louisville tonight. If we were to see any snowflakes flying around, you're going to see maybe a couple flurries during the day. And if you're going to see real snow showers rolling on by, it's going to be a brief period after 5 o'clock, mainly before 8, of when that's even remotely possible. But honestly, I still think that's not very likely. It's much more likely to our north. So tonight, you get a little bit of that. It rolls through. We get cold rain. The warmest part of your Sunday will be at midnight tonight. All right? By tomorrow afternoon, we're in the 20s. And with the decent breeze, it's going to feel more like the teens out there with that wind chill. Cold, raw day. That's what to expect overnight tonight, tomorrow. And again, I'll take questions here in a minute. But let's look at Monday night. Ooh. Right? That's a little interesting. So I will say that Monday night into Tuesday morning has a better chance of seeing a snow accumulation in our area than tonight, by far. Does that mean we're going to get snow accumulation? No. We're still a few days out from this. But all of what comes Monday night and into Tuesday is going to depend very heavily on where that low ends up. You see that low pressure right here? Wherever that thing ends up is going to dictate who sees snow, who sees maybe a little bit of sleet and freezing rain, and who sees rain, or maybe a little bit of a mix. So this model in particular kind of hovers the in-between. And where the modes of precip end up right here, I think is the most likely scenario for now. Some data has that low as far north as the Kentucky-Tennessee border. Some data has that low as far south as like south of Nashville, Alabama-Tennessee border. The further south that low is, the more likely we're going to get some snow. The further north it is, the less likely we are. Louisville, I think we're going to end up somewhere in between. I think we will see some mixed showers in there, but I do think we could see some snowfall Monday night, early Tuesday morning, which would bring some travel impacts in here come Tuesday. So here's what I've got for tonight, and I'll make this full. You guys can see it a little easier. Snow outlook through tonight. A brief hit of snow, non-accumulating, is possible, mainly north of Louisville. I can't completely say it's impossible in Louisville to get a brief hit of it. It's just not very likely. We're talking Paoli through Madison, Indiana, Scottsburg, maybe Memphis, Indiana, up through like Borden. You could get some of that brief hit of snow. As you go up to like North Vernon, Seymour, you go even further north of Jasper, North Vernon again. I want to mention that town again. The extreme far northern extent of our viewing area could get some minor accumulation. And what I mean by that is grassy surfaces, elevated surfaces, less than a half inch. For Louisville, we may not see a snowflake this evening. With that warm air advection coming on in, even the high resolution data this morning is continuing to show me that this is probably going to be a cold rain scenario for 80 to 90% of our area. That's tonight. I'm not going to throw totals, obviously, at Tuesday just yet because it's way too far. That would be ridiculous to do. But I wanted to come on here and I wanted to show you all, for now, what I'm thinking in terms of who sees snow, who sees a mix, and who sees mostly rain. Now, again, I want to preface this by saying this will change, okay? We still got plenty of days to go through, and we're going to get much better data as this low actually gets into the U.S. over the next couple of days. Because remember, where that low ends up will dictate who gets what. For now, I've got a mostly snow scenario from Seymour down through Paoli and around Madison. From Paoli and Madison south through around E-Town, I've got a mix. That means maybe a little sleet, maybe a little freezing rain, transitioning over to some snow as we cool off. And then from around E-Town, Bardstown, and south, I've got a mostly rain scenario. Cold rain, maybe mixing in with a little bit of sleet in there. Again, this is going to change, all right? Because it's all going to come down, again, to where does that low pressure end up? And if you're just joining, I'll go back to that real quick, and I'll kind of fast forward past tonight and into Monday night here. If that low moves further north than that, we're talking more cold rain, even in Louisville. If it moves further to the south, like this, then we're talking more of a snow scenario for Louisville. We still got to get through this one first. But again, what moves through the night, you may see some flakes flying around during the daytime. Not going to accumulate. You may see a few raindrops trying to get through. But again, there's a lot of dry air above our head. And it has to break through that dry air first in order to reach the ground, which a lot of it is not going to. So in summary, we'll go with a brief hit of snow, especially after about 5 o'clock north of the river. Minor accumulation for our far northern counties, Lawrence, Jackson, Jennings. And then actual snow accumulation 2 inches or more up near Indy and further to the north. So if you have any questions, let me know. Drop a question. We'll try to get to as many as we can. I know a lot of you guys obviously have Saturday plans, so I don't want to hold you for too long. But we'll go through and we'll look at a few of them, all right? All right, so will there be, Travis Hack on Facebook says, will there be ice accumulation threat to the power? So Travis, I don't know if you're talking about tomorrow or Monday night, so we'll go through both. For tonight, no, there is not any ice accumulation, none of that mess at all. Monday night and into early Tuesday, I'm not going to rule it out because I do think some freezing rain is possible, but I'm not going to come out here and say right now that we're going to have power issues. I don't think that would be way too premature. And it does not look like an ice storm. It does not look like that. It would look more just like a little bit of a wintry mix for a little bit, transitioning over to either rain or transitioning over to snow. But we got plenty of days to dial that down. Catherine Hutchinson, does anyone need bread and milk? Go now. No, you don't need bread and milk. You don't need it for either one of these. Awesome. Justin on Facebook, it's a Bryce Jones meteorology cold check. I like that. Anna on Facebook, thank you, Bryce, for at least giving some hope for snow, even if it's just a flurry or two. I think we could see a few flurries flying around today, but honestly, that may be best case scenario, especially along and south of the river. Up in Indiana, you could get a little bit more maybe. Let's see. Way too much cold out there. Yeah, Carol Payne on Facebook, that cold air is going to hang around a little while longer, which is why we get that next little chance on Monday night into early Tuesday. What's up, Jeffersonville? Henrietta in Jeffersonville, Judy in Valley Station, Robin in New Albany, Good morning. Okay. Heather Allen on Facebook says, does Monday to Tuesday look more like an advisory or a warning? Right now, I don't really have an answer for you. I think if we were to see anything like that come out, it's going to be within 24 hours of the event, so we probably wouldn't see anything until Monday afternoon or Monday morning. And it would be more winter weather advisory criteria, in my opinion. It's not a big snowmaker. It's more of like a clipper system than anything. But again, if that low moves further north, then we're maybe not talking about any advisory. So we got time to narrow that down by the time we get there. Thanks for keeping us up to date. I know a lot of people feel that if it's going to be this cold, we need snow. It's a good point. We're kind of just in that weird in between now where we're flirting with freezing, but we're not fully committing just yet. So we're kind of like leading the snow on a little bit, especially for tonight. It's going to be really hard to get that to happen. Bring on the snow in E-Town. What will E-Town get? Kendra Pence. E-Town tonight, cold rain. It's the most likely scenario tonight. For Monday night to Tuesday, we'll see a mix, maybe a little bit of cold rain mix in there. Looks like a possibility. Again, that's going to change between now and Tuesday. Let's see. Karen Ray on Facebook says, got to work in Glendale on Tuesday. 12-hour shift. What type of precip when I drive back home at 6? So, Karen, I don't really have an answer for you right now, especially with timing. Since we're so far away from Tuesday morning, we're going to narrow down the timeline as the day goes on. And the reason is because the further that this storm system gets into the U.S. mainland, the better data that we get on it. So it would be way too premature for me to come on and say, it's going to start snowing at this time. It's going to rain at this time. We don't know that yet. Right now, we're trying to figure out where the different modes of precipitation end up. Jessica on Facebook says, needs to move a little more south. If you want snow, you want that low pressure to be as far south. Well, not too far south, because then it can cut under us and miss us. So that's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of different scenarios here. Let me go back and pull this up one more time for you guys so you can guys kind of get a little bit of an illustration on what I'm talking about here. Specifically for Monday night heading into Tuesday. So, again, you'll see that low. The further south that thing goes, the more cold air gets in. But if it goes too far south, then we're getting further and further away from the moisture. So you kind of need it in a perfect place in order to get snow. So for now, I think we're going to have 3 different modes of precipitation around our area Monday night into early Tuesday. We're going to have cold rain. We're going to have a mix of some sleet and maybe a little freezing rain. And we're going to have snow. Where that ends up is still to be determined. That is my answer for that heading into Tuesday night. Any more questions? Let me know. I'll stay on here for maybe another 5 minutes or so, and we can discuss some more things about tonight if you guys want to, and then we will get on out of here. Just want to do a quick little live for those wanting questions about what's coming up. So we'll go through one more time on what to expect tonight. First of all, so again, you may see a few snowflakes flying around during the daytime today, but odds are it's not going to accumulate, and a lot of you may not even see the snowflakes because there's so much dry air up there that anything that's trying to fall can't get through the dry air. And by the time it does, it may be too warm. That southeast wind picks up. Here's noon, 1 o'clock, and you see surface temps are too warm. So a few pitter-patter here or there, possible during the day, but you see how quick that warm air advection surges its way on in. This is not a good scenario for snow for our area. It's just not. Sarah Daughtry, hello, good morning. What about Brandenburg? For which day? Brandenburg for today is kind of in that same scenario to where you may be able to get a burst of snow between like 5 and 8, but that would be like a worst case scenario. From there, it does transition over to a mostly rain scenario, and I think that the data here has that snow a little too far south, in my opinion. Ron, will I have trouble getting to work Tuesday morning at 6 a.m.? Travel impacts are possible, depending on where you are and what mode of precipitation falls where, which again, we're not quite certain on just yet. The confidence is low on where that's going to end up because there's still a lot of movement. It's like a domino effect. With this system that's moving through tonight, it's going to affect the next one. So it'll have to watch. It'll shift. But travel impacts are a potential for some of our area. Not all of it, but some of our area come Tuesday morning. But we're not talking about a big time snow or anything like that. This is not that scenario. This is more of like a clipper system. And if this low keeps moving further to the south, it could undercut us and it could miss a lot of part of our area. So that's why we don't commit to anything crazy this far out, because a lot can change. Travis, what's the best day to put up my Christmas decorations? Today, tomorrow, or Monday? It kind of depends on what you're looking for. Today's not a bad day for it. It's going to be cold all 3, so you're not really going to get out of that. Today's not a bad day for it, especially if you do it. I mean, you're going to do it before sunset anyway. Tomorrow, maybe a little wet still early in the day. Tomorrow afternoon's not bad. Monday wouldn't be bad either. But I will say I think tomorrow afternoon will be colder than today. And a lot of Monday is going to end up dry until Monday evening. So, all right. Before I get off here, if I don't break my mic, again, hit share, hit like the stream. We can get it out to everybody, and we'll do more lives coming up this week as needed. With this system tonight, it's really not one you need to panic over. Most of us, including Louisville, are just going to see cold rain tonight. At best, you may see a few flakes flying around during the daytime, but it's got to get through the dry air first. So a lot of that probably isn't even going to reach the ground. So, yeah. Thank you guys for joining today. If you got a last question real quick, let me know. I'll go ahead and hop off here. But again, we've got that potential tonight. Most of us see cold rain around Paoli, Madison, and North. You could see some snow showers in there, but it doesn't really accumulate until you get way up there, up near like Seymour. In North Vernon, like that. And then Monday night into Tuesday, all modes of precipitation are possible. We will narrow down exactly where that's going to end up over the coming days. Well, I'll know more tomorrow morning when I'm on air, when y'all are watching me on WDRB tomorrow than I know today. And then by Monday, we'll know even more. And then that is when we're really going to start narrowing down where different modes of precip end up on Monday night and heading into Tuesday morning. So that's what we've got coming up this week. Matthew Wine will be in tonight, and I'll be back on WDRB News tomorrow, starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow. By the way, programming alert here. I believe tomorrow is the last day that we start at 7 a.m. on Sunday, and then we're going to go back to 6 a.m. Starting next weekend. So, UK UVL game today. If you're heading out, have to